Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this beautiful Sabbath. Thank you for allowing us to come today and worship you and honor you and praise you, Lord. Thank you for this nation. Thank you for waking us up, Father. Thank you for the Passover that's to come. Thank you for the edification that we have so we can spread this knowledge, Father. Thank you. Thank you for your beautiful, strong Son. Thank you for your Son, Yahweh Shah, Lord. Thank you. We honor and praise your name, Yahweh. We honor you this day and we honor you every day. We ask that you help us into making sure that our brothers and sisters continue getting edified with this word. I ask that you help every individual in this prayer today. Help all of us. But right now, reach out to these men and women of this camp and make sure that they're okay, Father. Let their footsteps be a little bit lighter so they can continue in your work. Thank you, Father. We ask just one person be edified today, at least just one. And we thank you because we know that that will be. Thank you, Father. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this holy day. Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Father. Amen.
Come on.
All right, we're going to open up. We're going to do Passover understanding because there's a lot of different understanding on this, man. Passover is like one of the things that you hear different sides of this, different understanding of that. So we're going to get the true understanding of the Passover, why it is, what it is, and what we need to do. So make sure you do me a countdown, Maya, please.
When do we start?
The countdown? Just let's start now.
An hour and a half?
Mm-hmm. Please. All right, so we're going to open up, we're going to start in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 16. And before we get started, I want to give a big shout out to all the men out there doing the work diligently and searching for this truth and spreading this truth, and all the Akwak out there that are helping their men, and to also make sure that you're keeping their households together. And we thank you for that. Thank you, and keep pushing this knowledge, keep spreading this knowledge, y'all. All right, so we're going to do Deuteronomy 16, and we're going to start at verse 16. We're going to do 16 and 17. So Deuteronomy chapter 16, and we're going to start at verse 16.
Deuteronomy chapter 16, verses 16 through 17 says, 3 times in a year shall all thy males appear before the Lord thy God in the place which he shall choose, in the feast of unleavened bread, and in the feast of weeks, and in the feast of tabernacles, and they shall not appear before the Lord empty.
All right, so when you come to these feasts, bring something. Whatever you can afford to bring, whatever you can afford. Your camp may say that we're contributing this amount of food, or we're contributing this amount. So you do that if you can. If you can't, just bring what you can. Just don't come empty. All right, read on, please.
17 says, every man shall give as he is able, according to the blessing of the Lord thy God, which he hath given thee.
Right, so whatever you're able to provide for these feasts, do that. But definitely you don't want to go against the word of God. Bring something. Don't come empty-handed. That's what he's telling us. All right, so this is just to start us off with the understanding of Passover and even what the word means, because most people don't even know in Israel where the word comes from and why it's called the Passover. So we're going to find out all these things today. Let's go to Exodus chapter 12. Exodus chapter 12, and we're going to start at verse 1. We're going to read pretty much the whole thing in Exodus 12.
Okay. Exodus chapter 12, verse 1 says, And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, This month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. 3 says, Speak ye unto all the congregation of Israel, saying, In the 10th day of this month they shall take to them every man a lamb, according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for an house.
So a lamb per household. All right. So make sure you write that down. And this is verse 3. Everybody's supposed to have a lamb per household.
Okay. Verse 4 says, And if the household be too little for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next unto his house take it according to the number of the souls. Every man according to his eating shall make your count for the lamb.
Right. So souls, that's people. Because everybody's a living soul. So read that one more time, brother.
4 says, and if the household be too little for the lamb,
So your house is too small to bring a lamb into.
let him and his neighbor next unto his house take it according to the number of the souls.
Right. So a number of the people, you could divide that and bring it down. If you only got 2 people in your house, just bring enough of that meat for you and that one person if there's only 2 people in your house. Keep going.
Every man according to his eating shall make your count for the lamb.
Right.
Verse 5 then says, your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. Ye shall take it out from the sheep or from the goats.
Right. So the Most High, the same way Yahushua, when he was sacrificed, he was without blemish. So should our lamb be. But the thing is, we're in captivity, so it's hard for you to go out and get the exact lamb or goat that you want. That we know that's difficult. So remember, and I know a lot of brothers don't even understand this, but we're actually not under the law. We are punished because we didn't keep the law. So right now we're rehearsing the acts of being under the law, so we can go back to the Messiah and the Father. So we must rehearse these acts. That's what we're doing right now. We're getting it together. So even if we can't afford, which most of us can't, you can't afford a unblemished lamb, which the only way you can be able to do that is if you had your farm and your own. You can't go to the slaughterhouse and get an unblemished. You don't know where that lamb came from. He may not even know where it came from. So it's almost impossible for us to have an unblemished cattle. So do the best you can, Israel. Do the best you can. Let's read that one more time in 5.
5 says, your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year.
Right.
Ye shall take it out from the sheep or from the goats.
Right. So you don't. And lamb is a little bit more expensive than goats. If you can't get a lamb, get a goat. Right.
Okay. 6 says, and ye shall keep it unto the 14th day of that same month.
Hey, Elder, I got a precept on what you was bringing out about the lamb and the blemish.
Right.
Give me Ezekiel 4:13. Yeah, it's the reason why we ain't gonna be able to have the food properly done right, the way we would like to do it, the way the Most High commanded us to.
You said Ezekiel chapter 4, verse 13. And it says, and the Lord said, even thus shall the children of Israel eat their defiled bread among the Gentiles, whither I will drive them.
Right. So where we were scattered, our food sources is amongst the Gentiles. They're the ones in control of that. So a lot of the stuff is not going to be kosher like the way we would like it to be, because we're not in control of those things.
Definitely. All right. So we're back at 6. Exodus 12, and we're back at verse 6. Man, everybody's so tiny, man.
Me?
Yeah. I can't. Nobody can cheat on your paper. You cannot cheat on his paper.
True. Let me read over at 6 again. 6 says, and ye shall keep it until the 14th day of the same month, and the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening. Okay. Verse 7 says, and they shall take of the blood and strike it on the two sides, on the 2 side posts, and on the upper door post of the houses, wherein they shall eat it.
Right, so I'm sure a lot of us know about that story about putting the blood on the posts of the houses. A lot of people seen the movie 10 Commandments, so they put the blood there. We know why. We want to find out even more detail why that was done. All right, keep going.
8 says, and they shall eat the flesh in that night, roast with fire, and unleavened bread, and with bitter herbs they shall eat it.
Right, and so unleavened bread is bread basically without yeast. And we use bitter herbs, and some people eat like pita bread. Some of it has no yeast in it, just without yeast. So you want bread without yeast in it, no leaven. Leaven is what makes it rise. The yeast.
9 says, eat not of it raw, nor sodden at all with water, but roast with fire his head with his legs, and with the pertinence thereof.
Right. So sodden actually means soak. So you can't boil this meat. You cannot. That's one thing you cannot do. You cannot boil it. You have to. You can fry it. You can bake it, but you cannot boil it. That's what sodden means. You cannot boil it. And pertinence is the inner organs, like the heart, the liver, and all those things inside that animal. That's what that pertinence is.
Right, and I like how the Most High clearly stated not to eat of it raw.
Right, definitely don't want to do that.
So just remember, no raw meat, man.
Right, right.
You know.
Took it well done.
Right. That's the way Esau liked his meat bloody. Yeah, we don't do
Lord
that.
doesn't tell us to do that, man.
What did you say pertinence meant?
It means all the inner parts, like the organs, the heart, liver, muscles, all that stuff inside the body.
Got you.
So you want to his head with his legs and with the pertinence thereof. Cook all that stuff, fry it up.
10 says, and ye shall let nothing of it remain until the morning. And that which remaineth of it until the morning ye shall burn with fire.
So when you eat that tonight, when the Passover is, eat that same night.
11 says, and thus shall ye eat, with your loins girded.
Read 10 again, just to make sure. Cause brothers love leftovers. Let's read that one more time.
Yeah.
We love leftovers.
Facts, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
10 says, and ye shall let nothing of it remain unto the morning. And that which remaineth of it until the morning ye shall burn with fire.
Right. So I know. If you want to, if you got the space, take it out back, dig, burn it, whatever you need to do. But this is thus said the Lord. This is thus said the Lord. If you don't have that, just dispose of it however you need to. But if you want to put a smile on the Most High faith, burn it.
Yeah.
Thus said the Lord.
Hey, that's what he clearly says. He
clearly.
doesn't say throw it away in the trash.
Right.
He does
He said
say light
burn
a
it.
flame to it.
Set it on fire.
Yeah. And you know what? And setting it on fire is more like that atonement. With the smoke going
Right.
up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
11 says, and thus shall ye eat, with your loins girded.
So you read it again?
What, 10?
No, 11.
11 says, and thus shall ye eat.
So the Most High is going to tell you how to eat. And thus shall you eat. And this way you're supposed to eat it. Right?
With your loins girded,
Okay.
your shoes on your feet, and your staff in your hand. And ye shall eat it in haste. It is the Lord's Passover.
Right. And I'm sure brothers have heard the term, the bread of haste. Has anybody ever heard that term before?
No, I haven't.
No, I don't
You
think
heard
I've
that?
heard that one.
Have you ever heard that, Mike? The bread of haste. Okay, we're going to learn. That term is very popular. We're going to learn. A lot of the fake Jews, they understand that term, and we're going to learn where it came from and why it's called bread of haste.
Okay.
So also, with your loins girded, that's having your garment and a girdle around your garment. That's
Like a
what
belt
he's
type
saying.
thing.
Which is
Right.
exactly
So-
what Christ wore in
Right.
Revelation.
Right. So this is how we dress whenever we have ceremonies and we want to get just what they call to the nines.
Okay.
You get your garments and you put a girdle around your garment. Also with shoes, the fact that he had to tell us this is kind of funny, but shoes on your feet. So you can't be walking around eating your lamb chops with barefoot. That you can't do it that way. You have
That's right.
You got to come clean.
Have shoes on your feet,
Have
yeah.
shoes on your feet. You know, and some brothers do have staffs nowadays.
Yeah,
And-
yeah.
Right, which is
I
perfect.
definitely need to get one.
I got to get one. So there are brothers who are not allowed to carry weapons because they have felony charges on them, and they're out in the highways and byways. Get yourself a staff. So
Absolutely.
if somebody approaches you, you can beat them down with that.
Absolutely.
Right. So have your staff. So
Absolutely.
these are things that you're supposed to have when you're eating at the Passover. Right? Everybody understand that?
Yep.
So you're dressed to the nines and shoes on your feet, no barefoot with grease all on your mouth, walking around with the little chop. So make sure you got shoes on your feet and a girdle and your staff in your hand. All right? And it shall eat it in haste. This is the Lord's Passover. We're going to touch more on that haste in just a minute and find out what that means. Okay?
Verse 12 says, for I will pass through the land of Egypt.
Which,
this
by the
night."
way, haste is quickly.
Quickly, yeah.
Quickly, that's right.
So you're eating it quickly. So you're not sitting around, My wife is a slow eater. I eat fast. My wife is a slow eater. So you can't, this ain't your mama's Thanksgiving. You can't be sitting around with your bed, just taking your time slowly. The Lord said he eat it in haste.
Yeah.
Don't try to make this. Don't get mad. Don't get don't get mad. She getting mad already. So you don't want to make this a meal that what it sure is good. This meal is not that kind of meal. This meal is a reminder of something, and we're going to find out what it's a reminder of. That's why your bread can't be that good old buttered bread and tasting all. It's got to be unleavened. It's got to be that flat bread like crackers with no yeast whatsoever. There's a reason for the bitter herbs also. We got to have bitter herbs with this food. All right, so those are three things: your lamb or goat, your unleavened bread, and your bitter herbs. These are three things that we must have.
Okay.
There are some brothers who are vegetarians, which is okay. It's not a commandment to be vegetarian, no, but it's some brothers who choose to be. But on this day, you have to eat that lamb or that goat. You have to. Vegetarian, not, I don't care, because the Most High don't care. He said,
Right.
eat it, and you must eat it. Simple as that.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
All right. Verse 12. This is Exodus chapter 12, and we are in verse 12.
Verse 12 says, "For I will pass through the land of Egypt this night, and will smite all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both man and beast. And against all the gods of Egypt I will execute judgment. I am the Lord."
I am the Lord. Yeah. So the Lord is basically preparing to destroy Egypt. This is the beginnings of what we call Babylonian and Babylon and what we are in right now. This is the first captivity that we were ever in. This is the captivity in Egypt with the Pharaoh, which is in Africa. All right. So the firstborn of every person, the firstborn of everybody is going to die in this day.
That's right.
Right. Execution.
Verse 13 says, "And the blood..."
And just real quick, he said both man and beast.
Facts.
Now that's deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your dog's firstborn got to go.
gotta go.
That's right.
Got
That's
to
right.
go.
That's right.
Gotta go.
Yeah. That is deep, yo.
It is.
The Most High don't play, yo. He just don't play, man. He's going to kill you and your dogs. Wow. All right.
13 says, "And the blood shall be to you for a token upon the houses where you are. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you, and the plague shall not be upon you to destroy you, when I smite the land of Egypt."
Read that one more time.
Verse 13 says, "And the blood shall be to you for a token upon the houses where ye are. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you.
I will what?
I will pass over you."
That's where the Passover comes from. That's where the name comes from. He's going to pass over your house if you have the mark, that blood on your doorstep. He's going to pass over you so death won't touch your firstborn. That's where the whole term Passover comes from.
"And the plague shall not be upon you to destroy you, when I smite the land of Egypt."
Right.
14 says, "And this day shall be unto you for a memorial, and ye shall keep it a feast to the Lord throughout your generations. Ye shall keep it a feast by an ordinance forever."
Right. Ordinance. Real quick, ordinance is a commandment. It's a law. You going to say something else?
Yeah. Now these words that were being spoken were spoken to Moses, right? And he portrayed these messages to the rest of the children of Israel, correct?
Right.
Okay.
So we were given these words. Right.
15 says, 7 days shall ye eat unleavened bread. Even the first day ye shall put away leaven out of your houses. For whosoever eateth leavened bread from the first day until the 7th day, that soul shall be cut off from Israel.
Right. So during the Passover, if you have leavened bread in your house, you will be cut off if you eat that bread. You're not supposed to have it in your house, but if you eat it, you're cut off. He's saying. So when the Passover starts, get rid of it. All the leaven you got in your house, get rid of it. And I know some of us don't. We're not the homeowners, or we're not the man of the house in certain situations. But me personally, if I was in my mom and pop's crib, I would probably go ahead and just get rid of it and let them get mad at me, if they want to. But I would make that effort. I'd rather my mom and pops be mad at me
Than the Most High.
Than the Most High.
Exactly.
Even if I had a roommate, I'd rather my roommate get paid. I'll hook you up next week. I'll
Right, so
repair what I did.
at least have
Get it
the
out.
funds to repair
Right,
that
put it
issue.
back.
If you're
Right,
going to do
right.
that, take that step.
Yeah,
At least
'cause-
have the funds to
Right,
say,
cause
hey,
then,
here you
right.
go.
'Cause then that would be theft.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
That would be
Absolutely.
theft.
Absolutely.
We can't steal, right? That's a
Absolutely.
commandment. You can't steal. So, yeah, get rid of it. And then if you got a roommate, replace it. But, if they're reasonable, just let them know why you're doing it.
Facts.
Yeah, but you want to make an effort because you don't want living in your house in these 7 days. The Most High say if you even eat it, you're cut off. These for those who know.
Yeah.
You can't do that. This is serious business. Serious business.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Verse 16, it says, "And in the first day there shall be an holy convocation. And in the seventh day there shall be an holy convocation to you. No manner of work shall be done in them, save that which every man must eat."
Right. So save is accept. Write that down. An exception to or accept. That's what save means. All right. So you can't work on day 1 and you can't work on days 7, he's saying. And these days are to be honored as holy days. And the only way you can work on those days if it's to work to get food. Because it is a feast.
Yeah, right.
These are feast days. So the only way you can work is if you're working to get food for that Passover. So if you have to work day 1, only work for that purpose. Only work for that purpose. That makes sense, everybody?
Yeah.
Yep. Save that which every man must eat, that only may be done of you. No matter of work, except for that reason.
Verse 17, it says, "And ye shall observe the feast of..."
Oh, and also that work and also includes cooking, because we know we can't cook on the Sabbath, but you can cook because it's a feast. That kind of work you can do even if it's cooking.
Okay.
If you want to go out and hunt a goat, well, you ain't hunt no goat. Right. If you want to go out and hunt, if you got lambs on the loose, you want to go ahead and hunt it, you can do that, and then you can cook it. So that kind of work you can do. All right.
For sure. 17 says, "And ye shall observe..."
But don't hunt nobody's goat. You go to jail.
Go out there, shoot somebody's goat, they gonna get mad.
Right.
"And ye shall observe the feast of unleavened bread. For in this selfsame day have I brought your armies out of the land of Egypt.
Yeah.
Therefore shall ye observe this day in your generations by an ordinance forever."
For how long?
Forever.
The Lord say do this forever. The only reason why we don't do this is because your enemy took this stuff from you.
Fact. I know you are.
And you know what? Even if you are a Christian, it says here clearly forever. Okay, forever. You don't read nowhere in this Bible where that changes, where the Lord says not to do the Passover anymore.
Right.
You know.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
Let me get a Christian to break that down.
Please.
Yeah.
Verse 18 says, "In the first month, on the 14th day of the month at evening, ye shall eat unleavened bread until the 21st day of the month at evening."
So from the 14th to what date?
21st.
Right. Yeah. All right, so from 14th to the 21st, that's 7 days. All right.
19 says, "7 days shall there be no leaven found in your houses. For whosoever eateth that which is leavened, even that soul shall be cut off from the congregation of Israel, whether he be a stranger or born in the land."
Anybody want to take a stab at that? What that mean? So let me read that again. 7 days shall there be no leaven found in your houses. For whosoever eateth that which is leavened, even that soul shall be cut off from the congregation of Israel, whether he be a stranger or born in the land. What are you talking about?
It's either two ways, one of the two ways.
Right.
One, it's either talking about a stranger from the other nations, from some of the Egyptians that followed us while we were in the wilderness. It's talking about that, or it's talking about the Israelite strangers that I believe were in captivity to the Egyptians, didn't know, maybe some of them didn't know that they were Israel, and they were either bondmen. Well, we all were bondmen at that time. Yeah, it's either that or it's talking about an Israelite that doesn't know you're an Israelite. One of the two.
Do you agree?
Yes.
Do you know what he said?
Yes.
So if you agree, he gave you he gave you two different types. Which one? So which one are we talking about?
Well, I think, of course, we have to know that the Bible is for us now. So I'm saying the latter of that.
Which one
was the Israelites that doesn't know that they're Israelites. People that don't know that they're Israelites.
And how do we know that? Just from that verse right there. How do we know that? That's what it's talking about. Because the answer is in that verse, actually.
Facts.
So how do we know that? In that one precept that he's not talking about the foreigners who are of the nations, but the strangers that are strangers. How do we know?
When it says from the congregation of Israel, of course, it's talking only about Israel.
That's a clue because you can't be cut off from the congregation if you're not a part of the congregation. That's a great clue. But it's something else. So it says stranger or born in the land. So what it's saying is that if you weren't born in Israel, you're considered a stranger.
Okay.
Even though you're Israel,
Right.
because you weren't born in Jerusalem, you're considered a stranger. We're considered strangers.
Right.
We're considered strangers because we weren't born in Israel.
In the land, that's right.
That makes sense? Right. Okay. Write that down if you write that down. So this stranger talking about us.
At that point, wouldn't everybody who was an Israelite today, wouldn't
We're
they?
all strangers.
Exactly.
We're all strangers. Yeah.
Israelites is known as strangers
Oh,
as well. Yeah.
We're all strangers.
Just like the word Gentiles is known as Israelites as well too.
Right. So when you're lost, that when you're a stranger, it implies you're lost, and you're lost, that implies that you're a stranger. You can't be lost if you're at home.
Facts.
Right, absolutely. But what Christianity will lean on is towards the left, the other way.
Right,
Yeah.
the first way you mentioned.
Right. They will say the strangers is talking about the other nations that followed Israel while they went into the wilderness, and they are counted as,
Part of the congregation, which we know you can't be cut off from congregation if you're not a part of the congregation.
That's right.
The only way you can be cut off from the congregation is you already originally a part of that congregation.
And that's what we like to do. We like to bring it all out, because if you don't bring it all out, lies creep in.
That's a
You
fact.
know what I'm saying?
That's a fact. All right. Verse 20 says, "Ye shall eat nothing leavened, and all your habitations shall ye eat unleavened bread."
Right, so nowhere. If you got two houses, you can't eat in either house. If you got a shack out back, you can't go to your shack out back, be eating a little bread and peanut butter and jelly. Right, you can't sneak back there in your, what they call it, man cave.
Man cave,
You
yeah.
can't go in your man cave shack
Yo.
and eat your bread. No.
Oh man. Verse 21 says, "Then Moses called for all the elders of Israel, and said unto them, Draw out and take you a lamb, according to your families, and kill the Passover. And ye shall take a bunch of hyssop, and dip it in the blood that is in the basin, and strike the lintel and the two side posts with the blood that is in the basin. And none of you shall go out at the door of his house until the morning."
Right, so hyssop is like a bitter herb that we use to cook with, and a basin, bason, is a basin now, basin, is what we use to cook with. Well, it's like a pot, basically. That's what that basin is, a basin, and the lintel is like the top part of your door. The post is the part that holds the structure together. It's the top part of your post. That's what the lintel is.
Okay.
So just make sure the hyssop is the bitter herb. It's a form of bitter herb. It's kind of like
Like a seasoning?
yeah, it's like a minty flavored. It's a wild bitter herb, and that basin is a pot that we use for cooking in, and the lintel is the top structure of a doorpost, the threshold, the top post. That's where they would put the blood on that and the side post.
Verse 23 says,
And he said, "Don't come out of your house until the morning."
Facts. 23 says, "For the Lord will pass through to smite the Egyptians, and when he seeth the blood upon the lintel and on the two side posts, the Lord will pass over the door, and will not suffer the destroyer to come in unto your houses to smite you."
Right. We know smite is like a firm blow. That's what a smite is. And suffer is to permit in this context. It's to permit or sanction or to allow.
Yep.
That's what it means by suffer. And will not permit the destroyer to come into your household. That's what it's saying right here.
24 says, "And ye shall observe this thing for an ordinance to thee and to thy sons forever."
Right. This is an everlasting covenant.
Forever.
Everlasting commandment.
Another reminder.
Which also proves that, read that again.
24 says, "And ye shall observe this thing for an ordinance to thee and to thy sons forever."
Right. So which also shows that we can't do all the commandments in captivity because right now some of you may be renting. So if you go to your crib and you put lamb's blood on your door, your threshold, and paint it, like you gonna get evicted.
Yeah.
That your neighbor's gonna look at you like you're crazy, and they're gonna snitch and say he's painting blood on his way. You're gonna be out of there. So we know certain commandments we can't do, but it's the rehearsal of these things that we're doing, right? So you're renting. Don't put blood on your door. Don't do that. Don't do that. And say those guys told me to put blood. Don't do that.
Okay, he told me to do it.
Yeah. Don't do that.
Yeah, we must remember. We must remember that we are in the land of our captivity.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of things scriptural, but this is where Christians will use to say, "See, we can't do the law." You know what I'm saying? So we have to use wisdom. We have to use knowledge and understanding that this was certain things that we had to do. We were in captivity, but it was a different form at that time.
Right.
We wasn't living with neighbors that can cause your rental space to be removed from you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We was at our own little pits there at that
Right.
time,
Right.
So our slave quarters, because, the kings was in the house,
Right. So we don't want to see you sit on the side of the road evicted saying them KOZ niggas don't
Right.
do it.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
No blood on your doors. Unless if you own your house and you want to do that,
Time.
by all means, you're pleasing the Lord. Yeah, pleasing the Lord.
That's right.
Right.
Verse 25 says, "And it shall come to pass, when ye become to the land which the Lord will give you, according as he hath promised, that ye shall keep this service. And it shall come to pass, when your children say unto you, What mean ye by this service?
Why are you doing this, Daddy? Why are you doing this, Mama?
That ye shall say, It is the sacrifice of the Lord's Passover, who passed over the houses of the children of Israel in Egypt, when he smote the Egyptians and delivered our houses. And the people bowed the head and worshiped."
Right.
28 says, "And the children of Israel went away, and did as the Lord had commanded Moses and Aaron, so did they."
So they listened to Aaron and Moses. They took their understanding and they walked away and they worshiped.
Facts.
Right.
And also, this is a good time to teach your children about this. Exactly what the Lord said to do. Tell our children. They will ask. They will ask you, "Why are we doing this?" This is what we need to tell them.
Verse 29 says, "And it came to pass that at midnight the Lord smote all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh that sat on his throne, unto the firstborn of the captive that was in the dungeon, and all the firstborn of cattle."
So we had Israelites. We had some that were free, some that were also in jail. And the ones that were in jail, they weren't able to get blood and put on their thresholds or anything like that. So those men in jail were Israelites. If they were firstborn, they would die right there in that jail.
Yep.
The Lord is about his business, y'all.
Yep.
Yeah, and then you also may have some of our people at that time that didn't believe what Moses was saying.
Right.
Didn't take heed to what Moses was saying.
Very true.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah.
Verse 30 says, "And Pharaoh rose up in that night, he and all his servants, and all the Egyptians, and there was a great cry in Egypt, for there was not a house where there was not one dead."
Every house in Egypt, somebody was dead.
Yep. That's
This is the great city of Egypt. In every single house, somebody was dead. Wow. That's like in America. In every house in America, somebody's dead. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. 31 says, "And he called for Moses and Aaron by night and said, Rise up and get you forth from among my people, both ye and the children of Israel, and go and serve the Lord as ye have said."
Right. So these Egyptians are saying, "Get your peoples and get out of here." That's what the Egyptians are saying.
we
They
just
saying,
we just witnessed some craziness.
get your people and get up out of here." Read that one more time, bro.
And he called for Moses and Aaron by night and said,
Ramesses calling, he crying. Moses, Aaron, come here.
"Rise up and get you forth from among my people,
Get your people and get y'all stuff and get up out of here.
Right.
both ye and the children of Israel, and go
All of y'all, everybody, get up out of here
serve the Lord as ye have said."
and go serve your God. Get up out of here and go serve your God, man.
32 says, "Also take your flocks and your herds as ye have said, and be gone, and bless me also.
And what?
And bless me also.
He said, get your chickens and your cows and get up out of here and put in a word for me.
Put in a good word.
This is what this Hamite is saying.
Right.
This is what this dirty Hamite just said.
Yeah.
Get your cattle and your dogs and your kids and get up out of here and put in a good word for me to your Lord. Wow. You got to read that one more time.
Yeah. 32 says, also take your flocks and your herds, as ye have said, and be gone, and bless me also.
Wow.
It's crazy.
That's a Hamite for you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Them the people that sold us
I
to the
think whipping
Edomites.
on bats and everything.
Right.
Bless me also.
Yeah, throwing the word for me.
I'm scared.
And they're the same people who sold us to the Edomites.
Yeah.
On the coast of Africa.
And then you fell a lot of our babies to the alligators.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Bless me also. Really? Wow. Unbelievable.
33 says, and the Egyptians were urgent upon the people.
Urgent. They moving quickly among. They getting. Come on, let's go. Get your coat. Get your shoes. Get up out of here. Let's go. Let's go, y'all. Let's go
That they might send them out of the land in haste.
quickly.
For they said, we be all dead men.
We gonna die. Unless we get these niggas out of here.
Right.
Ain't you heard? There's niggas in here.
Yeah, 'cause
Get these niggas out.
they don't know the form or extent of this plague that happened to them. See, they don't know. In their brain, they just seen one go down of every family. They don't know how far this is going to
Right.
extend.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? We know.
Right.
The Most High told us he's going to kill the firstborn.
Yeah.
Right.
They don't know
They
what's
think
going to
it
happen.
might get. Yeah, they might get grandma too. Let's get these niggas up out of here. We all gonna be dead.
34 says, and the people took their dough before it was leavened, their kneading troughs, beyond bound up in their clothes upon their shoulders.
Right. So let's see. The people took their dough before the leaven, and the kneading trough. That is like a. It's usually a wooden thing. I got a picture of one. It's like a. It's a device where you knead your bread. My mom used to do it on
Like a rolling pin type thing?
where it's what you put it on before you use the rolling pin. This is a picture of a woman using hers. You put the dough in and then you knead it inside. Put the dough inside of it.
Okay.
Right.
Sure.
I'll put a picture up on the video. I'll show you a picture later. I'll put a picture up. But it's just like a wooden thing that you put the dough in and you just knead your bread so you won't have to mess up your table.
Oh,
You just put it
basically,
in.
what they use today is
cutting
a
board.
a cutting board.
Yeah,
Right,
type
right,
thing.
Put it on
right.
there,
But
yeah.
this is not a cutting board, but yeah, I see what you're saying. But this is specifically for bread. And you have a cutting board and you would have a kneading trough. You would have both of them. All right, so that's what. So these women, read that again. So keep that in mind. This it's about this big, usually about that big, and it's usually made out of wood, especially back in those days. Made out of wood, this big, and you put the dough in and you knead it. All right, read that again.
34 says, and the people took their dough before it was leavened, their kneading troughs being bound up in their clothes upon their shoulders.
So these women got their putting our foremothers. They got their troughs, their kneading troughs up in their dresses and stuff. They packing all this stuff in their clothes, taking as much as they can take. You understand that? They're bound up in their clothes upon their shoulders. They got stuff all in there inside their clothes.
Yeah.
35 says, and the children of Israel did according to the word of Moses, and they borrowed of the Egyptians jewels of silver and jewels
We did
of
what?
gold. Of the Egyptians.
Moses and they did what?
And they borrowed of the Egyptians jewels of silver and jewels of gold and raiment.
We took their stuff. They wasn't gonna fight us because they scared now.
Yeah, this crap.
We're taking their gold, their silver. We're taking their things now. We're picking up their jewels.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, this was one of the pretty dopest captivities though,
Yeah.
for our people to go into, because when we came out of it, we did leave with an abundance and substance of things.
Yeah.
I think that might have been the only captivity we really left out with like that, right?
No, there was a time when, there was one
Yeah,
time.
we should've-
There was one time we left. We weren't supposed to take nothing.
Right.
And somebody, I forgot who it was. Him and his daughter.
Took something.
Right.
They took the soldiers
Right.
and good and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
He messed us up, man.
And we had to slay him and his family.
Yeah,
and everything.
yeah.
Jacked up.
Yeah, little greedy little thing. We'll get into that. Right. So, but even though how big this is, this captivity, the Lord said, our children in the future, in the wilderness, they won't be talking about this captivity. They're going to be talking about this captivity.
Right. The Most
This
High
is
delivered us
right out
yeah,
of this
yeah.
captivity. This is the one they're going to be talking about.
Right.
They're going to forget about the one out of Egypt. Right.
Yeah, the one in Egypt was big, was huge.
This is going to be crazy
But
big.
this one is gathering us from all
Over the
kingdoms.
world.
Yeah.
And we're going to be going up like this. Up into those chariots. Right.
Ah,
So read that 35 again.
35 says, And the children of Israel did according to the word of Moses, and they borrowed of the Egyptians jewels of silver and jewels of gold and raiment.
I love that term. He said borrow. I love that. I love that. You know, I love that. Moses is a brother now. Moses is a brother. He said we borrowed these things. Give me that stuff. We're going to borrow this. Keep going, brother.
36 says, And the Lord gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians,
That favor, that's that fear. Oh, Lord.
that's right.
so that they lent unto them such things as they required, and they spoiled the Egyptians.
Right. Things that they required. That means I want this, I want that, and I want that over there in the corner. And dig it up out the ground. I know you buried something right there. Dig that up too.
And spoiled, you know, meaning basically more so not a physical rob like give me what you got, but we're taking everything.
Right,
so we're basically robbing them.
Right. Which is why they call it spoils of war. When you go to
That's
war,
right.
you get to take their stuff. That's the spoils of war.
37 says, And the children of Israel journeyed from Ramesses to Succoth, about 600,000 on foot that were men beside children.
Right. So from Ramesses, where they were in Egypt, to Succoth, which is Sukkot, it's called nowadays, modern, is about 120 to 150 miles on foot they walked. Between 120 to 150 miles on foot. About 600,000 on foot that were men. There were men.
Not including the children.
Does not include the women and the children.
Right.
600,000 men. And also, and I understand that's a lie, right? Also keep in mind too that the Bible is written from masculinity point of view. So it's not really dealing with the women and children as it deals with the men. It's just not. It's not thus. Right.
Yeah, I mean, because when you really think about it, the children are not really doing much.
Right.
The women are really not really doing much.
They're just helpers.
So it's mostly the men that's involved in a lot what's going on.
And that's true.
And when you read here 600,000 men,
Right.
right? That lets you know that now you got a more visual understanding of how a lot of those things got built in those times now.
We built them pyramids.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
600,000 men, bro.
And they probably had the kids working too.
They probably
Yeah, oh,
did.
yeah, absolutely.
Get your little
Absolutely.
nigga ass out there, whap.
Oh, absolutely.
Had the kids working too.
And this is older men, younger men. You know,
Right.
because in Israel, a man starts at 13.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
38 says, And a mixed multitude went up also with them, and flocks and herds, even very much cattle.
Right. So we do have some strangers among us who are foreigners. Keep that in mind.
Right, absolutely.
We do have some strangers who are
That's why I mentioned both
right.
ends.
There's two different types of
You see what I'm
strangers.
saying?
Right. So of course, in this captivity, ain't gonna be none of that.
Right.
Ain't gonna be none. Ain't gonna be no Edomite saying,
Going up in the
"Can
chariot.
I go up too?"
Right, coming up in the chariot.
No.
That's right.
Ain't gonna be none of that.
39 says, And they baked unleavened cakes of the dough which they brought forth out of Egypt. For it was not leavened, because they were thrust out of Egypt and could not tarry, neither had they prepared for themselves any victual.
Right. So this is where we get an understanding of the bread of haste, because we had to move quickly. Remember them women putting all this stuff together and give me that, dig it up out the ground. We were moving in haste, right? So we had to cook and eat in haste quickly. Had to move like that, because they were thrust out of Egypt. Remember they
Kicking
said,
them out.
right, get your stuff and get out. It wasn't y'all ready to leave. It wasn't like
Right,
that.
right.
Y'all
They
got
were
to
taking
go.
that time,
Y'all,
some
y'all
time.
got to go.
That's packing up and that's
Yeah.
Nah, they was putting the applying
You
the
got to
pressure.
get out. Yeah, just like an eviction. We were evicted.
Yeah.
The Most High made sure that, we
Yes,
got up
sir.
out of
Yes,
there.
sir.
Get out and go.
40 says, Now the sojourning of the children of Israel who dwelt in Egypt was 430 years.
Read that again.
Now the sojourning of the children of Israel who dwelt in Egypt was 430 years.
So the whole time that we were in captivity in Egypt was 430 years. right? And Moses always talked about 400-year captivity, and we've been in this country. We came here. Judites were the last one to get on that ship and come. We were the first one, the last ship, or the last tribe. We came here in 1619. My wife Maya, her tribe was 1492. She was Manasseh.
Manasseh, yeah.
They went in Spain territories and Cuba and stuff in 1492. So 1619. So that was when we came here, and so in 2019 marked the 400 year. The mark the 400 year, right? So, and the Lord said that 400 year prison sentence, after that 400 year prison sentence, that His anger would suffice. After that, He would be satisfied. So we've done our prison sentence now. We've done that. So, right. So now, the clock is on. It's ticking. Babylon is finished.
Some Israelites were taught that after the 400 years, Yahushua is going to come, but the scriptures doesn't say that. He said we're going to go through that 400-year time period until that time is up, and then the other prophecies must be fulfilled as well. So
we want to watch our captors fall. We want to watch them.
Yeah, we're going to
fall.
watch them decrease. Because now the awakening is happening and it's going all around the world. So absolutely.
Yep.
And the Most High is about His drama. I mean, definitely about His drama.
Suspense and everything.
Yeah. I mean,
Absolutely.
Tyler Perry ain't got nothing on the Most High. Drama, y'all.
Absolutely.
41 says, and it came to pass at the end of the 430 years.
Where we at?
41 in Exodus 12. Even the self same day it came to pass that all the host of the Lord went out from the land of Egypt.
Right, read that one more time.
41 says, and it came to pass at the end of the 430 years, even the self same day it came to pass, that all the host of the Lord went out from the land of Egypt.
Okay.
It is a night to be much observed unto the Lord for bringing them out from the land of Egypt. This is the night of the Lord to be observed of all the children of Israel in their generations. 43 says, and the Lord said unto Moses and Aaron, this is the ordinance of the Passover. There shall no stranger eat thereof.
No what?
No stranger eat thereof.
Okay. So we know we got two different types of strangers. So one stranger can't eat.
Right.
One stranger can't eat at this Passover.
Facts.
So somebody ain't invited.
That's right.
They can't eat.
Right.
Keep going.
44 says, but every man's servant that is bought for money, when thou hast circumcised him, then shall he eat thereof.
Right. So again, there are two types of strangers. Let's go to Leviticus 25:35 real quick. Because you got a stranger, you got a stranger who could be a Jew, and a stranger who could be a Gentile. So Leviticus 25:35.
Leviticus chapter 25, verse 35 says, and if thy brother be waxen poor and fallen in decay with thee, then thou shalt relieve him, yea, though he be a stranger or a sojourner, that he may live with thee.
Right. So we're talking about that brother who is your stranger, right? All right.
That's right.
Let's go back.
Exodus 12 and 45.
And you know what else was another key word in that? In Exodus 12? And 45, you said?
Well, that was 44. We just read it.
44?
Yeah, there's some more meat on that bone.
Yeah.
There's some more meat.
It says, when thou hast circumcised him, right?
So
Now, circumcision was only a practice of Israel.
right.
So that's another clue that this brother is a fellow Israelite that
Right.
we're supposed to be doing the circumcision too.
Right. So this servant he's talking about is basically a Israelite brother who is working for you. That's called your servant. So he's working for you, and you take the time to teach this brother, and you basically baptize him with the word. You baptize him with the word. He is now circumcised. He's circumcised with the word. That makes sense. Then shall he eat thereof. But if he's a heathen, which is a brother who don't know anything about what's going on, he can't come get no lamb chops. No sir, can't get no lamb chops. Not in here, right?
And it's no gathering. You know, never did the Most High ever command us to gather with any other nations.
Right.
Never.
Or heathens.
Or heathens.
Unless they were trying to be circumcised. Right.
Facts.
Right, absolutely.
45 says, a foreigner and an hired servant shall not eat thereof.
Right. So that foreigner, and that's a different type of stranger. That foreigner basically is somebody who is not of your nation.
Right.
Right.
But also remember, foreigner also can mean Israel too.
If he's right, unless he's a natural foreign by blood. Right.
46 says, in one house shall it be eaten. Thou shalt not carry forth out of the flesh abroad out of the house, neither shall ye break a bone thereof.
So if you eating your not pork chop, your lamb chop. Let's throw that word in the trash. So you eating your lamb chop, and when you finish, cause you know what? When I was a kid, we used to eat pork chop, and we would take the pork chop, and one person would hold it, other person would hold it, and you would break the bone.
Break
and
the
make a
bone.
wish.
Okay.
The wishbone type
Yeah,
thing.
Right,
yeah,
right.
We did that
Right.
with the chicken too, right?
Yeah.
We didn't do that with
Chicken,
chicken. We did that with pork
We
chop.
did it with turkey.
Really?
Yeah.
Turkey.
Turkey
Bone?
Yeah, the turkey bone. Yeah.
Right.
Turkey,
So we'll take that bone and we'll break it, that bone, and make a wish. Right?
yeah, wishbone.
Right. There you go. So it's really peculiar how things go against the Most High. So let's read that again.
46 says, in one house shall it be eaten. Thou shalt not carry forth out of the flesh abroad out of the house, neither shall ye break a bone thereof.
So let's go to John 19:33 real quick. John 19:33.
John chapter 19, verse 33 says, but when they came to Yahushua and saw that he was dead already, they brake not his legs.
Right. So this lamb that we're eating, those bones cannot be broken, because his bones were never broken. The Most High didn't allow his bones to be broken. So this is representation of the Messiah.
Right.
So when you eat that chop, don't ever let those bones break, out of respect.
Right. This is a part of that. Come eat. This is my body. You know. That's right. That's
Yeah.
what the lamb is symbolizing.
Exactly.
It's a sacrifice. And I don't think a lot of our people at that time knew that. That the lamb is the symbolism of Christ for the redeeming down the line.
Right.
You
They
know
didn't
what I'm
they didn't have the New Testament.
Right.
Right.
So that
They
was
couldn't
how-
reason with what he was saying. Anything he was saying,
Right.
really. They couldn't reason with that.
Absolutely. Because he's giving key specific things about how to eat food. We know how to eat
Right.
food,
Facts.
right? We wasn't slow on how to cook a lamb.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
And just real quick, the end of that 46 was, neither shall you break a bone thereof. Do not break those bones or those chops.
47 says, all the congregation of Israel shall keep it.
So we all have to keep this commandment. It's Passover.
And when a stranger shall sojourn with thee, and will keep the Passover to the Lord, let all his males be circumcised. And then let him come near and keep it. And he shall be as one that is born in the land, for no uncircumcised person shall eat thereof.
Right. So he gotta understand the word. He gotta understand why he's doing Passover.
Yeah.
He's gotta be circumcised. He gotta be converted from that Christianity. He cannot be coming out talking about I'm Salam Alaikum and can't come in there with that. He cannot.
Right. Well, actually, you know, at the time, it's the doctrine of the Egyptians.
Right. I'm just speaking to the brothers now. Right.
Right.
But at this time, right.
That's
It's
what
right.
it is.
it's the doctrine of the
Right.
Egyptians.
Right.
And and he shall be as one in the land, as being as we were born in the land.
Right. Jerusalem. Right.
Right. So don't look at this brother as opposite.
Verse 49 says, one law shall be to him that is homeborn, and unto the stranger that sojourneth among you.
Right. So whether you were born in Jerusalem or born in Babylon, so this is one rule for all of us are brothers. All of us are brothers. So we can't treat a brother different because he's not born in the homeland. And in our case, you know, the ones that are there right now, they can't treat us different because we were born in Babylon. They can't treat us different. We're brothers just like they are.
50 says, thus did all the children of Israel As the Lord commanded Moses and Aaron, so did they.
That's what they did, what they were told to do.
And
And we know they did up until a point, because then they started breaking the laws. Eventually,
Facts.
that's why we sitting right here today in this
That's
nasty,
right.
filthy Babylonian place.
Yeah, that's right.
So they yeah.
51 says, And it came to pass that selfsame day that the Lord did bring the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt by their armies.
Right. Con. So that is a good breakdown, understanding on that. Let's go to First Ezra, chapter 1. So everybody got a better understanding of the Passover, right? First Ezra, chapter 1 and 1.
This is the book of Ezra, First Ezra, chapter 1, starting at verse 1. And it says, And Josiah held the feast of the Passover in Jerusalem unto his Lord, and offered the Passover the 14th day of the first month. Having set the priests according to their daily courses, being arrayed in long garments in the temple of the Lord.
Right. So most of our brothers, we wore long garments for this Passover, something that we traditionally did. We wear our long garments for the Passover, because it's like a day for us to kind of, dress to the nines. Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 5. 1 Corinthians chapter 5.
You want to start?
We're gonna do 1 through 8.
Okay. 1 Corinthians chapter 5, verses 1 through 8 says, It is reported commonly that there is fornication among you, and such fornication as is not so much as named among the Gentiles, that one should have his father's wife.
So Paul is talking about fornication. What commonly is basically regularly. So we're regularly fornicating, and he's not talking so much like fornication, like you're sleeping with your husband, your father's. What did he say? Your father's wife.
Yeah, his father's
so
wife.
he's not really talking about that type of fornication. That's what he's saying. I'm not really talking about that type of fornication. That's among you right now. Keep going.
2 says, And ye are puffed up, and have not rather mourned, that he that hath done this deed might be taken away from among you.
Right. So he's saying that there's some of you who are puffed up with this pride and this boasting and this arrogance about you, which is a form of fornication. Let's go to Ecclesiastes real quick. Ecclesiastes 7, I'm going to read 2 through 4. Because we're supposed to be in the house of mourning, not the house of feasting or the house of joy. We're supposed to be in the house of mourning. We're not supposed to be puffed up with pride and arrogance.
Yeah, basically saying it's being happy in our land of our captivity.
He said Ecclesiastes 4.
Ecclesiastes 7,
7.
2 through 4.
2 through 4. This is a precept to 1 Corinthians.
Yeah, 1 Corinthians 5 and 2.
Said 2 through 4.
Ecclesiastes 7, 2 through 4.
Okay. Ecclesiastes 7, verses 2 through 4 says, It is better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting, for that is the end of all men, and the living will lay it to his heart.
Right.
Sorrow is better than laughter, for by the sadness of the countenance the heart is made better. The heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of fools is in the house of mirth.
Right, so you shouldn't be in the house of joy and feasting. You should be in the house of mourning. Right now, today you should be doing the Sabbath. You shouldn't be out buying burgers and ice cream. You shouldn't be doing it right now. So let's go back to that 1 Corinthians 5 and 2.
Okay. Read 2 over again, or?
Yeah.
Okay. 1 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 2 says, And ye are puffed up, and have not rather mourned, not in that house of mourning, that he that hath done this deed might be taken away from among you.
So Paul is talking about, he's explaining the fornication in verse 1, which is not the fornication so much. He's talking about having sex
What the
with
Gentiles
father's
do.
wife, right? With what they, that's their fornication. But our fornication goes beyond that. Our fornication, also what Paul is explaining, is being puffed up with this boasting and living in the house of joy, living with arrogance. You understand? That's what he's explaining. So, and that he that have done this, he's talking about living that way, that brother, deed might be taken away from among you. This brother been taken away from us. So, keep going.
3 says, For I verily, as absent in body, but present in spirit, have judged already, as though I were present concerning him that has so done this deed.
He's talking about that brother who living puffed up and boastful and arrogant in his happiness and his joy of being the way he is. And definitely you don't want to be in arrogance with this knowledge. Right?
4 says, In the name of our Lord Yahushua Christ, when
So-
you are... Go ahead.
Just go ahead and read 3 and then keep going into 4.
Okay.
Because because it almost doesn't need a comma after D.
Right.
So read 3 and go into 4.
3 says, For I verily...
And listen very carefully.
For I verily, as absent in body, but present in spirit, have judged already, as though I were present concerning him that hath so done this deed, in the name of our Lord Yahushua Christ.
So he's doing this stuff in the name of the Messiah. He's doing this boastfulness he's talking about up then too. He's puffed up with this pride and arrogancy in the name of Yahushua, which is wicked. In the name of Yahushua, the anointed one. Keep going.
When ye are gathered together,
When we gather together.
and my spirit, with the power of our Lord Yahushua Christ,
Okay.
to deliver such one unto Satan for the destruction of the flesh, that the spirit may be saved in the day of the Lord Yahushua.
Right. Keep going.
Your glorying is not good.
Your what?
Glorying is not good.
Right. So this man who's acting this way in this congregation, whatever congregation it is, he can't be this way. And that even with you within yourself, there's a part of you that behaves that way or has that spirit on you. You got to get that spirit off of you. Right.
Know ye not that a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump?
So that one brother, don't you know that he's going to spoil the whole congregation? If you got a brother like this who's boastful and prideful, he's going to bring the whole congregation down.
Yeah.
You understand this?
Yeah.
And what's to be boastful and prideful about? Man?
Right.
You're in
We not even
captivity.
saved yet.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
7 says, Purge out therefore the old leaven,
Get rid of that brother.
that ye may be a new lump,
Right. And get rid of the old you also and become a new man. Right. Keep going.
as ye are unleavened. For even Christ our Passover is sacrificed for us. Therefore let us keep the feast, not with old leaven,
Right.
neither with the leaven of malice and wickedness, but with the unleavened bread of sincerity and truth.
Right, so we have to be sincere and truth with this thing. It's all about sincerity and truth. Right, so if there's a part of you that is like that, get rid of that part of you before the Passover starts. If you have a situation with another brother that is on a negative level, get rid of that argument. Get rid of that bad thing, man. You know?
Yeah, I like how the Most High moves like that with us, man, on how we're supposed to settle issues with us, you know, privately, and then, you know, come to him, and then, you know what I'm saying, make sure you good with your brother or your sister, you know what I mean? Yeah, man, I like that.
Yeah, when I was young, my twin brother, we would argue and fight, and my mom, she would make us stand in the middle of the living room holding hands for like an hour.
Really?
Yeah. And we stand there and hold hands, man.
And you sitting there mad, angry.
Right.
Word,
Yeah, you sitting there mad. And we were standing there long enough to forgive each other.
Yeah.
After that hour and a half,
Like,
we
man.
never forgave each other.
Yeah, what she was
what it
basically
is.
teaching you is,
Teach us how to love your
this
brother.
doesn't last longer than your anger.
Right,
Exactly.
right. This
You
is
know
bigger
what
than
I'm
what y'all
saying?
thought. This is
Right,
bigger.
right,
Yeah,
man, that's
yeah.
deep, man, that's powerful.
Yeah,
Man.
and we got to keep in mind too that no matter how much your mom teach you to be there with your brother, the Messiah came here to divide.
Facts.
That's why he's here right now doing that. Y'all understand that now?
Yep.
All right. So that is what I have for the Passover. I hope everybody was edified on that, man. Have a better understanding what the Passover is and why it is. Everybody good with that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
fine, absolutely.
All right, man. So we're going to shut this down and we're going to start back on another chapter of John. So Right. So we'll go ahead and shut this down. So I hope y'all were edified like we were edified. And this is our this is actually KOZ's first Passover. This is 2022, and this is our first Passover together, man. So, yeah. So anybody want to say anything before we shut it down? Any words?
Nice. Great understanding on the Passover, man.
All praises.
Good to have good insight on actually reading it and learning what it actually really says, not just hearing.
Right. And there's a lot of hearing going on in this nation, man. A whole lot of hearing. We need to do more reading than what we're doing too. We got to break this stuff down, piece by piece, line upon line. We got to break it down. Yeah. All right, so we're definitely going to close out. This is KOZ's Passover 2022, and Lord willing, this will be the last Passover in this nasty, filthy Babylon. Death to America. So with that, Kom Yasharala.
Kwam Yasharala.